Hello, this is Mark Holmes, the editor of Via Satellite. I'm back for another of our Thursday morning conversations, and I'm delighted to have with me Javier Recio, the Chief Commercial Officer of SpaceBridge. Javier, how are you doing today?
Great, Mark. It's great to be here.
It's great to have you, and obviously it's been a big year for SpaceBridge. Some, big announcements. Obviously, the big announcement was at Satellite this year when you launched the STELLA platform. Could you talk to us a little bit about the significance of this for SpaceBridge?
Yes, absolutely. Thank you. Well, especially has been in the core business of the baseband equipment for the last 5 years. When we focus on this area of the company after diverging the company from Advanced Wireless, which is, very famous way that David put his name in the industry. David Gutterman, I'm talking to. And Stella brings what we are calling three very important aspects to the baseband, which is number one, this transition that everybody is talking in the industry about hardware versus software. And in that, obviously, comes the cloud. The second one is the always pursuit of efficiency. We know satellite has been on the cost prohibited side for many years, and being efficient is the best way to try to bring costs down. And the third one is to have a platform that will be multi-purpose. So those are the main three aspects into why we focus on developing a new platform, which we call Stella. That's the commercial branding name that we put into this new platform. And maybe as we go along, we can talk a little bit about those three main aspects of Stella. Again, just hardware versus software, the efficiency, and the multi-purpose, multi-application approach of the platform.
Okay. What sort of capabilities does it bring that maybe that SpaceBridge didn't have before?
Okay. I think SpaceBridge, let me emphasize first on the great things SpaceBridge had before that we are keeping, because that make a name for ourselves. So I think we trademark a technology called wave switch. And basically what that is simulating an SCPC type link, because the efficiency of SCPC into our TDMA network. Okay, so that is kept. The new Stella platform also provides the wave switch SCPC like technology on TDMA. What has been the improvements and transitions? I think, as I mentioned before, one is this big push on changing or reducing the hardware component to software component. So we're talking about a platform that between 2 to 3 rack units, you have a massive potential brain behind it. Okay, so physically speaking, is much more reduced. We're talking about, again, 2 to 3 rack units. Before, when we talk about a hub, you were talking an entire rack full of equipment, right? And that brings significant advantages because, in this data and age, data center space, it's key and expensive, right? So saving teleport space, and also because of the physical reduction, you're saving significant amount of power consumption. That both of those items translates to savings in the operating cost of the platform. So this is a platform that, because changes a lot of the hardware to software, reduces the space, reducing the operating cost. Great improvement versus our previous platform. The other one is the efficiency of itself, and that's probably the key element, right? We focus on the return, on the forward. Honestly, I think regardless of the platform, there is very little we can do anymore. Everybody, you have to saturate your outbound DBB S2X. That's it, right? But on the return, I think there was a lot of things that can be done in order to improve that efficiency, and that's what we focus on. And on the return, basically what we've done, most of the platforms basically work in a two-dimension plane, meaning you play with different modulations schemes, you play with different FX schemes, forward error correction schemes, and then what we have done is we add a third dimension layer to that play, and that third dimension play is start playing with the block sizes, because when the block sizes are fixed, in order to fill those blocks, there is a lot of, let's say, a protocol and communications data that goes along, taking out space from actually customer data, okay? So what we've done is play also with the third dimension and bringing the three elements into a self-made lean budget software automatically. And basically, every 26 milliseconds, the platform is analyzing the three-dimension variables and determining what is the best way that I need to process this data to maximize customer throughput, okay? And obviously being efficient by saving space capacity bandwidth, okay? So that's is the most important. And the consequence of that will be the third aspect is the multi-purpose of the platform. Since you're already playing in third dimensions and you're maximizing, again, the forward is already maximized, you're maximizing the return, you're very super efficient. So automatically this platform becomes multi-platform. Because if you start throwing different applications to it, then it becomes more efficient because it has three dimensions to handle that data. So in the past, I think there were very successful platforms and customers used to select the platform based on the application. I'm in the cellular backhaul business. So for cellular backhaul, I'm going to go with that platform. I'm in the IoT business. So because of the nature of my requirements, I'm going to go with that other platform. But in this platform, plays with modulation schemes from a spectrum all the way to 64 QAM in the return, which we already tested live that return. Then the more different applications that you throw it, the more flexibility you will have to play with the statistical algorithms for the efficiency. So there is the word everybody is using right now, which is artificial intelligence. To me, I mean, it's great, but at the end of the day, I'm a computer engineer. I come back to artificial intelligence in my vocabulary is not much more than programming, right? So we use this programming, and we can use the word the artificial intelligence into the system to analyze all these different variables and come up with what we believe is the most advanced platform in the market today.
It's super interesting. I want to sort of talk about the success stories and the deal flow. I mean, you announced it obviously with a lot of fanfare in March, and there have been some announcements since then. Can you sort of tell us about the reception that ESTELLA has had in the market, and some early sort of success stories that you're starting to develop?
Absolutely. Okay, so before the success stories on ESTELLA, I actually have to tell you, as you mentioned at the beginning, it's been a very good year for SpaceBridge. And obviously, ESTELLA, we just announced it as a new product in March, but it was still in the final stages of the development and trials, which we are finalizing right now. So I think the beginning of the year was mainly on success on the previous platform, but again, then there are some very important things on the previous platform. Number one is, again, the reliability of that platform. And number two, the fact that we already have the wave switch, which is the technology that I mentioned before, ESTELLA also carries, right? So based on that, they've been significant wins for us, especially on the defense side. And I think it's very important to highlight that, because no secret, right? The elephant in the room, the LEO constellations and the impact of those LEO constellations in what is the massive internet and broadband consumption, right? So there are some niches that are maybe a little bit more protected from that, like the defense. And we've been able to win MOD type projects in countries that are very, very large and significant around the world. And I think that's very important. Second to that, on ESTELLA itself, and even on the satellite show, when we released, we were able to sign our first customers on ESTELLA. So we have customers that are getting delivery of this platform at the end of September. So we're going to start seeing the ESTELLA platforms on the field from the end of the third quarter and the fourth quarter of this year. Now, there is a roadmap that we have developed for Stella. This first version of Stella won't have all the features that we have in the roadmap for the system. The other one, for example, is we have been very successful in applications such as ATC, the air traffic control, where you have the mesh modem capabilities working along with the hub. And that is in the roadmap for Stella, which will be implemented during the following year. So I think even though the platform is multi-applications, as I mentioned, I think we are in the mid to long-term future seeing that this platform will be great for things like MOD, military mesh. It will be great for those applications as well.
I just want to stay on that point a little bit, because I'm when I was doing some background, I was looking at the potential markets, and a very diverse set of markets. Do you sort of feel that sort of the defense government side is where you're going to perhaps get the most traction for this, or do you think it's going to be very evenly split with sort of commercial as well?
Listen, I think there will be 3 or 4 applications that will be significantly higher than others. And that's not just because of the features or benefits of the platform. I think, again, one of the characteristics of the platform is that it's a multi-purpose platform. This platform will be good for any of the big applications that you have now in the market. But as I mentioned, I think there is no secret in terms of one of the applications that has the majority of the growth right now, which is the universal connectivity and the digital divide projects. Because of cost and the verticalization of some companies in the LEO market, those are going to get the biggest piece of the pie in that vertical. Okay, no secret, but I believe that will be the situation. So for the companies that are not 100% vertically integrated, that don't have the end product at the price of the megabit at those rates, and we're still playing in the different orbits, okay, and mainly on the geo, we have to focus on the applications that are mainly going to benefit from that. And I still see that those applications will be government, defense, military, and IoT, and cellular backhaul. I think there is probably, out of all those that I mentioned, cellular backhaul is probably the one with the most of the growth and requirements. And this platform is great for that. Outside that, we also have partnered with another Canadian company, which is very famous in terms of their compression and management of voice over internet. And that software is embedded in our network. So you no longer need to have an external box to manage cellular backhaul. You can do all that within the STELLA platform.
I'm just sort of very curious. I mean, you mentioned sort of AI and STELLA, and I'm very curious, because as editors, we're looking more and more at the impact that the AI can have on the satellite industry. How is it sort of shaping, or how can it sort of help shape STELLA going forward, and as the platform develops, what sort of the impact of AI going to be?
Yeah. I think it all starts with the fact that you are changing, or we as a company are changing the weight and the relevance of the hardware component of the system to software. Once you do that, okay, you're able to do 2 very important things. One is cloud. So how much of this system you can really put in the cloud, and if you have a significant component of it that is software, then you can do that, right? So the 2 important aspects are, now you can go more to the cloud, and the other one is the artificial intelligence, is because, again, this is software based, and the important things about it, it's, again, we are making this system get feedback from the network every 26 milliseconds. So every 26 milliseconds, this software, again, this artificial intelligence, is based on that feedback, making decisions. What will be the best scheme for me to handle this data, this customer data, in a most efficient way? So I think it's part of today, because I don't think we have to use it for future anymore. So I think the future in that regards, in terms of making this software, making this cloud-based, making this artificial intelligence core, it's already here.
Okay, let's talk a little bit about SpaceBridge, because even though it's got some names that are very well known in the company, like David Gellerman that we mentioned, it's still in some ways a relatively sort of young company. Can you sort of give us an update on where SpaceBridge is as a company in its sort of growth path and where it hopes to go next?
Okay, perfect, sure. You mentioned David Gellerman. Is the head of our company, and it's a man that I admire a lot, and he has made a significant name in the industry. This is a small industry, so it's not hard to know the key people on it, right? And he made himself a name with Advantage Wireless, and I think he was probably put together the company that was the leader in solid state RF equipment. And I believe still a lot of his passion is there, and that's why maybe the update to especially today is that while we had focused the last 4 years, I will say, of the company development and doing the architecture of what Stella will be, which is what we are basically unveiling this year. At heart, David loves RF, and that's why we are also this year coming back with RF product line. Still, we're remaining at solid state, and we're focusing on a product line mainly. I mean, we can do everything, right? But mainly between 20 watts and 1,000 watts is where we're going to focus as a standardized product line. So that's basically the news in terms of SpaceBridge. We come from David at Advantage Wireless. He divested that segment of the business, emphasize on developing what will be the next technology for the baseband, and that's how Stella came about. But we couldn't just leave RF on the side, so we are incorporating RF, and also because the company in some special occasions does full integration of projects, right? We can go out and build the teleport with the infrastructure, and we can do both the RF and the baseband. So it's a nice complement from each other.
I'm always curious when talking to companies like SpaceBridge. You know, we all talk about entering a multi-orbit world. You alluded it to, I think, in a couple of answers ago. As we go into this sort of multi-orbit world and a more multifaceted satellite world, what does it mean for a company like SpaceBridge?
Okay, it means that we have to be conscious of the future and also careful on the decisions, right? Most of the technology that we have could be orbit agnostic. There are a few little things that we have to do, especially when we go into LEO. So I think we are prepared to do that, and we have been in conversations with some of the, let's say, newcomer LEO constellations, but in a much reduced matter. What do I mean by that? Because at the end of the day, the main core LEO constellations are totally vertically integrated, right? So there is no room, not for SpaceBridge, but not for anybody else to come in and take a piece of that pie. But that being said, there are some other constellations that already have seen the benefits of the LEO thing before, mostly the fact of the quote unquote failed previous experiences on the LEO market. Everybody was afraid of LEO, and now the LEO can show that it could be successful. I think there are some other, especially, for example, country type LEO constellations. Those we can make a significant contribution to those, and not only to that, but I will address another topic, which is the micro geo satellites. We are in the still doing things on the geo, but the micro geo satellites, I think, is going to have a great impact, because the regular geo constellations have to change, right? They cannot sustain the same business model they have in the past with all the competition that is going on from the MEO and the LEOs, and that's why, as a result, we have seen all the changes in the industry and the big mergers and acquisitions, right? So we are adapting to those things. And again, most of the technology that we have is orbit agnostic.
And just sort of finally, you mentioned, we've obviously talked a lot about ESTELLA on this conversation, and obviously it's a fantastic release, and we wish you all the best with that. You talked about also a move back to RF as well, and some products there. Is there anything else on the technology roadmap? Anything in terms of other products that you'd quickly sort of like to highlight, or in terms of where you might go?
No, and to be honest, the reason why is because everything that we still have to develop on ESTELLA will be in the next year and a half, and everything that we have beyond that, it will be too long to give hints to our competitors. So I'd rather leave it here.
And just sort of finally, the market reaction to ESTELLA. You mentioned you had some good conversations as satellite. I guess we're about almost half a year since you made that announcement. Well, just sort of talk about the feedback you've had from the market since you made that announcement.
Great feedback. I think the market loves what we're doing. Again, proof of that is that we already have orders on ESTELLA, and we have already 3 to 4 POCs live with the system. We already have people scheduled to come to be trained on the system in the next couple of months at our headquarters in Montreal. So we're very happy with the future that ESTELLA can bring to SpaceBridge.
Excellent. Well, I think I'll leave it there. Javier, it's been an absolute pleasure to talk to you today. We're big fans of SpaceBridge. We wish you and the company all the best. We know that it was a very exciting launch for the company at Satellite this year, and sounds like it's getting great early reception. And yeah, we wish you all the best for the rest of the year. So thank you for taking time to talk to us today.
Thank you very much, Mark. It's a pleasure to be here, and thank you for the invitation of SpaceBridge and myself to be in your conversation.
All the best. Bye.
Thank you.